The idea of this research is to centralize the contribution of what this discipline has made to comedy studies through its focus on cultural representation. This article was based on the conference in the UK called Mock the Week, Comedy and the Politics of Representation, which had topics such as the female body in stand-up comedy, class, body, gender, and nationality in sitcoms in Slovenia, and dark comedy television. The three aims of the conference were feminism, post-colonialism, and disability. The first one I will start with is feminism. And apparently it is very common for women to use self-deprecation within stand-up comedy and comedy in general. The paper focused mainly on Ellie Tomset's article called Positives and Negatives, Reclaiming the Female Body and Self-Deprecation in Stand-Up Comedy. And this paper explores the various sites of marginalization or exploitation women might experience in society, and that is where they get their ideas for the self-deprecation comedy. The self-deprecation can be used by women in comedy as a strategy of resistance against the pressures of exploitation or marginalization and other things like that. However, it is liberating for some. It can also reinforce negative attitudes at the same time. The next thing is post-colonialism, and the paper focuses on Kate Fox's research in how stand-ups construct and are constructed by the northernness effect. And like I said earlier, this paper is based in the UK, so it talks about North Britain and South Britain. In North Britain, it's known as like the working class part of Britain, and the South Britain is known as the privileged, socially and economically powerful part of Britain, allegedly. However, the analysis of interviews with stand-up comedians that Fox did showed certain anxieties around accent and voice markers of gendered and economic inferiority and marginalization, similar to how in My Fair Lady, I don't remember their names, but the man tried to teach the girl how to speak more eloquently to seem more affluent. The analysis also suggested that stand-up is a form where the northern imagery of the working class, masculinities and femininities, can be challenged and resisted. However, it can also be reinforced negatively, similar to how the feminist part I talked about earlier. The third thing is disability. The paper focused on Becky Collins' British dark comedy television and the bodily aesthetics of the proper person. The article talked a lot about, well, they mentioned a few different kinds of shows that I'm not familiar with because I live in America, but it shows how dark comedy represents the vulnerability of injury, ridicule, sickness, and disease, and these dark comedies often has characters represented with having disabilities. However, the characters that have the disabilities in the show are not fully human, such as like a zombie or something like that. The article explored on a more positive note that this might be an opportunity for viewers to engage with and then dismiss fears surrounded by physical fragility and morality. However, it can also reinforce negative things to where people with disabilities are scary. In conclusion, the authors thought that this was an important topic due to the current climate where debates surrounding freedom of speech and the right to be protected from offense are frequently in evidence in relation to controversial jokes, sketches, and comedies. They sought to contextualize academic research to the representation of minority identities through reference to both writers and performers of comedy, engage daily in practical considerations of diversity and representation in feminism, post-colonialism, and disability issues. Thank you.